What innocent thing did your parents hide from you that came back 20 years later? When I was 6, I had an imaginary friend named Daisy, who wore a pink headband, loved strawberry yogurt cups, and only came out when I was home alone or upset. My parents humored me. Mom would set out snacks for her, and Dad would joke that Daisy owed him rent. I eventually outgrew her by the time I turned 9, and Daisy quietly disappeared from my life like most imaginary friends do. Or so I thought.
Fast forward to my 30s, my husband and I had just had our first child, and my mom sent us a huge box labeled Nursery Stuff, which was filled with things from my childhood: blankets, bedtime books, a faded stuffed bunny, and a small lavender notebook I didn't recognize. Taped to the front in my dad's handwriting was a note: Daisy's journal. Curious, I opened it. Inside were detailed entries, each dated and written from the perspective of Daisy, my imaginary friend, with page after page chronicling my childhood, little fears I'd had, funny things I'd said, days I came home sad, and nights I couldn't sleep. Daisy wrote about how she watched over me, encouraged me, cheered me on at dance recitals, and listened when I was lonely. Some entries were silly, like the time I got glitter glue stuck in my hair and cried because I thought I'd have to cut it all off. Daisy wrote that she liked my Princess Pixie look and would have made me a crown if I had to go through with it. Other entries were more serious, like the week my cat Muffin died. Daisy described how I drew her a goodbye card and taped it to the bedroom window so she could see it from the sky. She said she stayed extra close those nights. At first I thought maybe I'd written it myself as a kid, but the handwriting was too neat and too adult, and some pages included things I never would have known at that age, like how my dad had taken the day off work just to be at my 3rd grade talent show, or how mom cried in the hallway the day I came home with my first B-. There were entries about parent-teacher conferences, field trips, doctor visits, and even my weird obsession with sparkly jelly sandals. That's when I realized my dad had written every single entry for years, pretending to be Daisy. I called mom that night, holding the notebook in my lap. "I found Daisy's journal," I said. She went quiet, then gave a soft laugh. "Your dad always said Daisy was real. Why did he write it?" I asked. She took a breath and said, "Because you talked to Daisy like she was your best friend, and your dad, well, he wasn't always great at talking, but he listened, and he didn't want you to feel like no one heard you, even when you were alone."
Apparently, it started with 1 or 2 entries, just little stories he made up so he could better understand what I was going through. But over time, it became something more, a way for him to stay close, to protect me from a distance, to speak to me without embarrassing either of us. And eventually, it became a tradition. Every night after I went to bed, he'd go to the garage with a notebook and write from Daisy's point of view, sometimes pages, sometimes just a line or two. I flipped through more pages, Daisy cheering me on when I was nervous about starting middle school, Daisy reminding me I was brave after Muffin passed away, Daisy promising she'd always be around, even if I couldn't see her. The final entry was for my 9th birthday. Daisy wrote that she was proud of me, and it was time for me to grow up and take the world on by myself, but that she'd never be far, that she'd always be watching. Today, the notebook sits on a shelf in my daughter's nursery, and I haven't told her about Daisy yet. But last night, after she had a bad dream, I found myself whispering to her in the dark, "Don't worry, sweetheart, Daisy is watching."